Last night, Vogue held the first ever virtual runway. How did it go?
Oh, Janie, it was spectacular. I'd love to say my husky voice was because it was a night of partying, but it wasn't. But it was a spectacular event. We shot the runway in the Southern Highlands of New South Wales. It featured some of the best Australian designers. The virtual runway was in partnership with David Jones and American Express. And what was most unique about it for the Australian marketplace was that you could shop every look from the runway immediately by having links over the looks. So it was pretty spectacular. One of the other best things about the virtual runway is it's no longer limited to a handful of people that can actually attend an offline event. We were able to give thousands of Australians and actually international guests front row seats. So what more could you ask for? The runway is still available at the moment on vogue.com.au or will be available via some David Jones channels as well. So please jump in and have a look if you weren't part of last night's premiere. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. How did it all start?
So Fashion's Night Out started, as you said. It was born and bred by Anna Wintour in New York during the GFC, and 11 years later here in Australia, we've continued to keep the event alive. In 2020, we were quite challenged, actually, if I'm honest, right at the beginning of the year to determine whether we could maintain our incredible retail support strategy for our local retailers, and thought this is just not the year to walk away, and came up with a way of being able to pivot the entire festival. So the runway was one part of what was a 10-day festival of shopping activity that we were able to put on, and most of that was virtual. So we renamed it to Vogue Fashion's Night In this year. At its core, it was designed to ignite bricks and mortar stores and ignite spend. Rather, this was the year we were able to continue to ignite spend for retailers as a whole, so that as we get out of the pandemic and we start to re-emerge into our CBDs, that all our retailers will be part of that re-emergence. I also really proudly want to say that the councils that have supported Fashion's Night Out for years in both City of Sydney, City of Melbourne, City of Adelaide and many others have all stayed on the journey with us throughout this time, albeit that they're also going through their own kind of re-emergence plans as they need to rebuild their cities. So we were all in it together, and it really felt that way in last night's kind of closing event.
It's just wonderful, and it's such a great location. Vogue magazine has been around for over 6 decades. Vogue Codes is in its 5th year for 2020. Tell us what Vogue Codes is and what you're doing this year.
Vogue Codes is pretty spectacular, isn't it? It's quite a unique proposition to think Vogue, which is traditionally known for fashion and beauty, puts a spotlight on, technology. And when you kind of explain it, it actually makes perfect sense that we use the integrity of our master brand to put a spotlight on an industry that, essentially is very male-dominated. And through Vogue Codes, we are very much looking at empowering women and future female, the future female workforce, our daughters, to consider a career in the tech sector. This year, Vogue Codes is going to be a webinar series that has been incredibly well received so far. We extended the runway. It was meant to be an offline series in May, and we just launched a webinar series to keep us going. And next week and the week after see us culminate in the 2 biggest events in Vogue Codes Live and Vogue Codes Summit of the entire series. The purpose of Codes is, as I said, to encourage women to consider a career in the tech industry. One of the things we've found most exciting over the 5 years is the fact that the tech industry is super creative. It's not just about zeros and ones and coding. It's actually about that creative mind that needs to come behind the virtual worlds we work within. And, without giving too much away, I'm highly encouraging people to register to join us for Vogue Codes. Without giving too much away, the women in the tech company that worked with us to create the virtual world that you will see at next week's Vogue Codes Live and the week after at Vogue Codes Summit were pretty fierce. And I was super proud to know that the company we worked with had many women creating these virtual worlds for us. So, look, it's a really fun space to be in. I think 2020 for us has highlighted even more the importance of, the need for tech keeping us connected, keeping our communities connected, bridging bridging the gaps between us all. And so now more than ever, I think women need to really embrace the space that we're playing in with technology to ensure that our society is the society we want it to be, as we head into our future.